I think the most important thing of all, cycling-wise in training, that I learned is that training is there to train to get better, physically better for a race, not to prove anything to anyone or especially yourself. And I don't think I had the confidence when I started, in my first years as a professional cyclist, or even before as a junior. But maybe before I didn't think about this so much because I didn't try to achieve anything. I was just enjoying the process.
But that's also a great point, Mate, for listeners who are, on the group ride at the weekend where somebody just half wheels all day long, and in their head they're maybe making sense of it because the half wheel and they're proving their worth inside the group. Maybe they haven't the people who half wheel are normally the people who aren't as fit, haven't trained as much, so they're half wheeling to prove they belong to this group. But if you use your lens and your analysis to view this, that training is preparation to get better for races, like, it's so obvious that that's the case, but we forget about that. So by half wheeling and now training in a zone that isn't appropriate for the training session, they're actually making their chances of performing in the race less, not greater.
So I fully disagree with that.
All right, go hit me.
Do you want me to elaborate on that?
Yeah, definitely.
I have 10 years of experience with half wheeling.
Okay, you're a half wheeler.
Side of the spectrum. I think half wheeling happens when either of the riders who are in front are not comfortable with the pace, or one of them is stressed about training. So usually it can be that the rider who is half wheeling is not even wary of that because he's so much stronger than the other guy that this is completely comfortable for him. Yeah. And the other guy just can't keep up, and half wheeling happens. And this is easy to fix. You just need to talk to each other. And if the other guy is a nice person and he has empathy and sort of stuff, I think he will be more than happy to slow down and wait for a climb to then do a higher pace that is comfortable for him. Because a point of group ride is to ride together and to have fun, especially in the part when you actually ride together and have fun. Then if you hit a climb, of course, it's also fun to race each other a little bit or to do efforts or whatever, no? And then you can adjust your pace accordingly. Or the other situation, when half wheeling happens, I think from my experience, is when one of the riders who are pulling, usually the one who is half wheeling, who is in front, is much more switched on and focused on the effort, no? And not as relaxed, because he's maybe, I don't know, if he has efforts, he's afraid of the efforts that are about to come, or he's thinking about something else. Maybe they're not talking at that moment. They're not engaged in a conversation. I think if you're engaged in a conversation, half wheeling happens much more rarely because your brain thinks about the conversation, not about the riding pace. So you automatically adjust pace to fit each other, no? But if there is silence and you are each focused on your effort, then maybe one is more switched on than the other. Maybe one had more carbs than the other, and he feels more energized and he just rides harder, you know? And then you also, there's always a solution to half wheeling. You just need to acknowledge that, not stay quiet and think bad about the other person because he's half wheeling. Probably he's not even realizing he's half wheeling.
Yeah, as I'm thinking about it, and as you're talking,
if you talk it out, it always works out, I think.
As you're talking, I'm thinking about times when I've half wheeled, and you're totally right. Times that I've half wheeled, I've been kind of nervous about my training. I've been kind of nervous that I have an effort coming up and I'm in my own zone, and I'm like, I need to get a benefit from this session. Like, I need to be riding harder right now, but I'm just in my own tunnel. Like, I'm not thinking about anyone else. I'm just like, this needs to be a good session today. This needs to be a good session today. And it's almost
sometimes
like
you're stressed about good sessions. Yeah. I realized the most important thing that I learned in those 10 years is that training is for training and racing is for racing. And I always, especially when I was starting out, I was trying to achieve good sessions. This is the biggest bullshit that you can do. Like, the good session is a session that will make you a better rider. Not a good session. If you did a session that you're really happy with, when you open your file on Training Peaks or Today's Plan or whatever software you might use, I can assure you, that's not an ideal session. You could have done better for your body, and the mechanisms in your body that you're trying to trigger to make you a better rider, if you didn't strive for a good session on paper, if you know what I mean. If you achieved your target average power or your normalized power, if you even like try to force or if you are looking to do a certain average power during an effort or do the effort exactly as it's prescribed, you're probably not doing it. You're not doing it wrong, of course not, but you're not doing the perfect job. You're doing the perfect job when you understand what the effort is about, and you learn to listen to your body and try to act accordingly to that, because most of the efforts are there to do something, to stimulate something in your body, more often than not isolating one aspect of performance and trying to work on that to make it better. By isolating that means that you make the effort as easy as you can from the other sides of the performance. So now I use weird words, so I need to explain myself. Like, say you train lactate tolerance. This is the easiest way to explain it, no?
Yeah.
You can train lactate tolerance by going flat out for 10 minutes, really hard, sustained effort, and you spend, say, second half of that effort building up lactate, and your body gets better at this. But this effort would equally stress the other things in your body that happen when you do an all-out effort, which is the end goal of what you train for, to be able to do a better all-out effort in a race, no?
So it's
but
interesting.
This is not necessarily the most effective way. The most effective way of doing the best effort in a race, of doing this 10-minute effort, is to break it down. So what it takes for my body to be good at doing 10 minutes all out. It takes good lactate tolerance. It takes a high VO2 max. It takes good aerobic capacity to be able to produce, to be more efficient, to burn more fat and less carbs, and so on. No? And if you break this performance down into different aspects and you train for each individual aspect, it's proven that you get overall better than if you just do what you're actually training for. So now, if you did many 10-minute all-out efforts, of course you would get better at doing 10 minutes all-out, but not as much better as if you use that same amount of time and you trained each specific aspect of what it takes to do 10 minutes all-out with a good performance, if you know what I mean.
If you enjoyed this video and you want to keep binge watching the content, check this video. It's a cracker. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. That way I can catch you in the next one. See you then.